Hello, you're tuning in the English News Bulletin on QPVN channel. I'm Chung Nguyen, and now let me keep you up to date with the headlines. Vietnam's road to sustainable growth, flexible solutions amidst global changes. TV program The Symphony of Peace leaves a lasting impression. Overseas Vietnamese always remember ancestral roots. On the morning of April 6, 2025, the government held its regular meeting for March 2025 and an online conference with 63 localities. In his closing remarks, Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính highlighted the opportunity presented by the U.S. new tariff policies for Vietnam to restructure its economy, markets, production, and exports. He called for a strong, calm, and proactive response to ensure stability, sustainable development, and improve the well-being of the people. Over the course of March and the early part of the year, despite global uncertainties, the government and Prime Minister have directed ministries, agencies, and localities to implement policies effectively and flexibly, in line with the Party Central Committee, Politburo, Secretariat, and directives from the National Assembly and Prime Minister. The socio-economic situation improved steadily, with key economic indicators surpassing last year's figures. In the first quarter, GDP grew by 6.85%, CPI rose by 3.13%, and export-import turnover increased by 13.7%, resulting in a trade surplus of $3.16 billion. Foreign direct investment reached nearly $11 billion, up 34.7% from 2024. Social welfare measures were effectively implemented, and efforts to advance cultural, social, and public communication continued. National defense, security, and sovereignty were upheld, ensuring political stability and public safety. Diplomatic and economic relations were strengthened, yielding tangible results. The Prime Minister emphasized maintaining the 8% growth target, focusing on macroeconomic stability, social security, and improving people's quality of life. The Prime Minister instructed ministries, agencies, and localities to effectively implement party and government resolutions, prepare for party congresses at all levels, and ensure timely, high-quality proposals and reports in line with the Politburo and government's work schedules. Additionally, the Prime Minister called for ongoing institutional reforms, administrative restructuring, and digital transformation. Efforts to boost traditional and new growth drivers should continue alongside the effective implementation of resolutions on science, technology, and innovation. Proposals for a regional and international finance center should also be finalized. Today, April 7th, Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính led a high-ranking delegation of the government of Vietnam to attend the memorial service for General Kham Tay Siphandon, former president of the Lao People's Revolutionary Party, former president of the Lao People's Democratic Republic in Vientiane of Laos. General Kham Tay Siphandon passed away on the morning of April 2nd at the age of 101. A national mourning was held from April 3rd to the 7th in Laos and from April 4th to the 5th in Vietnam to honor and commemorate General Kham Tay Siphandon. On the evening of April 6th, General Phan Van Giang, Minister of National Defense, attended the live television program The Symphony of Peace. The program's success and strong impact on audiences affirmed its significance as a large-scale political artistic exchange event, marking the beginning of a series of activities commemorating the 50th anniversary of the liberation of the South and national reunification. Attending from various broadcast points were leaders of ministries, central agencies, and military. Jointly directed by the General Political Department of the Vietnam People's Army, the party committees and people's committees of Ho Chi Minh City and Đắk Lắk Province, the program was produced through collaboration of the Army Broadcasting Center, VIET Media, Ho Chi Minh City Television, and Đắk Lắk Radio and Television Station. It connected 3 live broadcast points in Hanoi, Đắk Lắk, and Ho Chi Minh City with the close coordination of Military Region 5, Military Region 7, and various military and civil agencies. Meticulously crafted in both content and artistry, the Symphony of Peace delivered powerful images, deep emotions, and epic yet tragic stories of generations who gave their lives for peace. On the afternoon of April the 6th, Senior Lieutenant General Nguyễn Văn Nghĩa, Deputy Chief of the General Staff, chaired a conference with the military parade troops participating in the celebration of the 50th anniversary of the liberation of the South and National Reunification Day. To date, more than 3,000 military troops participating in the parade have gathered in the South with good physical condition and accommodated at military barracks, ready for the combined training. The training plan has been built thoroughly, logically, and close to the real conditions. Senior Lieutenant General Nguyễn Văn Nghĩa lauded the relevant agencies and units for the closely coordinating and ensuring absolute safety during travel. He urged on the thorough organization of training plan and assurance of food hygiene and safety for the troops to ensure their health, especially amidst the hot weather in the coming days. The same day in Pleiku City, Gia Lai Province, the Army Broadcasting Center held a groundbreaking ceremony for the construction of its representative office in the Central Highlands. Lieutenant General Do Xuân Tung, Vice Chairman of the General Political Department of the Vietnam People's Army, attended the ceremony along with leaders of Gia Lai Provincial People's Committee. The 7-story building will cover 375.4 square meters with a total floor area of 1,460 square meters. It was designed by the Design Institute under the General Department of Logistics and Engineering, with construction carried out by the Xuân Vấn Vinacat joint venture. Completion is expected by the 81st founding anniversary of the Vietnam People's Army on December the 22nd, 2025. Lieutenant General Do Xuân Tung stressed the strategic importance of the Central Highlands, especially Gia Lai, in terms of economy, culture, defense, and security. He noted that building the office here reflects the Central Military Commission and the Ministry of National Defense commitment to strengthening media outreach in this key region. During his visit, Lieutenant General Tung also met with staff from the Army Broadcasting Center Representative Office and that of the People's Army newspaper in Gia Lai. Coming up next, overseas Vietnamese always remember ancestral roots. Overseas Vietnamese in Thailand commemorate Hùng Kings. In today's context of integration and development, preserving and promoting traditional cultural values, especially core ones like the belief in the worship of Hùng Kings, not only helps maintain our national identity, but also lays the foundation for building soft power and promoting the image of Vietnam and its people to the world. To better understand the role of culture, particularly the worship of the Hùng Kings in shaping identity and strengthening national unity, we spoke with Professor Dr. Tạ Ngọc Tấn for further insights. On December 6, 2012, UNESCO officially recognized the worship of the Hùng Kings in Phú Thọ as an intangible cultural heritage of humanity. In your opinion, what role does this tradition play in shaping cultural identity as well as in fostering and strengthening national unity?
Nói đến cái lịch sử hình thành và phát triển của dân tộc Việt Nam.
When discussing the establishment and development of Vietnam, we must acknowledge the immense difficulties and complexities of the land where our people have settled and thrived throughout history. These challenges stem from natural conditions such as storms, floods, and rugged landscapes where mountains intertwine with small coastal plains, all exposed to frequent typhoons. Such an environment has always been demanding and harsh. Secondly, beyond these natural hardships, we've lived alongside various communities and nations which strive to expand its own living space. This has led to constant conflicts and wars, forcing us to rise and defend our homeland. Faced with two major challenges, which are the hardness of nature and the relentless struggle against external threats, our people had no choice but to unite. That is why the image of the Hùng Kings symbolizes national unity, calling upon the entire Vietnamese people to recognize and embrace a common origin. As we listen to the story of Ogo giving birth to 100 children, we understand that all tribes or ethnic groups of the Vietnamese people share the same origin. What role does culture play in shaping a nation's brand and fostering its growth? Culture embodies the entire developmental achievements of a nation or a community. In other words, it is the accumulation of values formed throughout the people's history. However, culture holds an even greater significance. It creates the environment for human development. President Ho Chi Minh once said, "Culture paves the way for the nation's progress." Likewise, late General Secretary Nguyễn Phú Trọng stressed that as long as culture exists, the nation will endure. These words echo the wisdom of our ancestors, for culture is the very essence of a nation. Because culture is the very essence of a nation, it represents the values of our people. As long as we preserve and pass down these values, our nation will continue to exist. But if those values are lost, then only our physical form remains. Therefore, we must preserve, safeguard, and promote our cultural values, enriching, strengthening, and elevating them to new heights. This, in turn, ensures the sustainable development of our people. The preservation and promotion of cultural values across generations are vital to securing the nation's future. Thank you for your time and insights. As descendants of the dragon and fairy, wherever they are on the Hum King's Commemoration Day on the 10th day of the 3rd lunar month, Vietnamese people all turn their hearts towards their ancestral roots. Overcoming distances, a delegation of outstanding overseas Vietnamese comprising 47 people from 20 countries and territories representing approximately 6 million Vietnamese people abroad have recently offered incense in remembrance of the predecessors merited to the nation at the Ogo Temple and Hum King's Temple. The program was organized by the State Committee for Overseas Vietnamese Affairs under the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Far away from home for more than 60 years, this is the first time Đặng Thị Minh, a Vietnamese in China, has offered incense at the Lạc Long Quân Temple and Hum King's Temple. Despite her old age, she tried hard to be able to come here to show her respect to the ancestors, credited to the building and protection of the country. This time, I had an opportunity to return home on the occasion of the Hum King's Commemoration Day. I'm honored and proud of my country. We're so moved to be welcomed enthusiastically by the government. Having set foot on the sacred ancestral land after more than 30 years, Nguyễn Thị Lan Hương felt the deep connection with her homeland. The sense of being grateful and proud of the country's glorious history has filled her heart. Here, the word compatriot has become more sacred to her than ever. When I visited Lạc Long Quân Temple, I was recalled the legend that Mother Ogo gave birth to 100 eggs and 100 children. In fact, the word of compatriot has been repeated over and over again, which draws the overseas Vietnamese ourselves closer to the homeland. No matter where they live, study, and work, the overseas Vietnamese always keep in mind their national roots and harbor a deep sense of responsibility for preserving and promoting the fine tradition of the Vietnamese people. They have joined hands to contribute to building a prosperous and strong country in the new era. I've recently participated in the program Homeland Spring Festival, then this program. I want to play a part in educating Vietnamese young generation in the Czech Republic about the country's tradition. Vietnamese people always turn their hearts to the homeland on the occasion of the Hum King's Commemoration Day. The pilgrimage to the homeland, although it did not last long, remains unforgettable for the overseas Vietnamese, making them feel more attached to the country. Then they understand that homeland is not somewhere far away. Homeland is within each person's heart. On April the 6th, at the Hum King's Temple inside Khánh An Pagoda in Udon Thani Province, northeastern Thailand, the Vietnamese Association of Udon Thani solemnly held the Hum King's commemoration ceremony. This annual event, held on the 10th day of the third lunar month, pays tribute to the Hum Kings for their role in founding the nation. From early morning, the Vietnamese community gathered at Khánh An Pagoda, preparing offerings with traditional items like bánh chưng, bánh dày, flowers, tea, and fruit to honor the 18 Hum Kings. Each tray reflected the community's respect and remembrance of their roots. Udon Thani is the only place in Thailand with Hum Kings Temple. Since the 2019 Global Hum Kings commemoration and in line with the President Ho Chi Minh's teaching, the association has held this annual event to promote the tradition of drinking water remembering its source and to foster patriotism and cultural pride among Vietnamese in Thailand, especially in Udon Thani. And that's all for now. Remember, you can always watch the news again at QPVN.vn. Now, thank you for watching and hope to see you next time.